everyone, and welcome to Let's Heal with Beth Jones. That's me, your host. My mission is to bring the power of healing to trauma and abuse survivors. That's why every guest on this show will bring you an amazing story of healing in action. So come on, everyone, let's heal. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Let's Heal with Beth Jones. Of course, that's me, your host, and I am very excited today to have with me my friend, Charles McIntyre.
Hello, everyone.
Charles and I met very recently through an organization called Men of Nehemiah. Tell us a little bit about what Men of Nehemiah does.
Okay.
First of all.
Okay. So, Men of Nehemiah is a faith-based rehabilitation center for men who have had struggles with addiction, alcoholism, homelessness, incarceration. And its primary purpose is to introduce men to a relationship with Jesus Christ through counseling. They have a military department which just helps with discipline, and then they have the the last part of it is the biblical. So it's biblical, military, and clinical, which is the counseling. So its primary purpose is to restore men back to the house, so they can be fathers, so they can be leaders in the community. And it's by far the most amazing thing I've ever been a part of. I came through as a client, and by God's grace, I now work there, and I get to serve men who are in the fight that God has helped me out of, and it's just the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. And I've had quite a life.
We are going to talk about that. It is an amazing place. I feel every time that I am there, joy is the main emotion that I feel, because it really is an amazing place. All right. So tell us a little bit about Charles. Who are you?
Currently?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Let's see how the conversation goes. Where do you want to start?
So as of now, I'm just a person that God's grace has just transformed. Again, I have an amazing opportunity to have a job that involves serving. Mm-hmm. It involves community, mm-hmm. and just giving hope. Like to see a man just totally defeated and broken, and just over a period of time, just watch the light come on, and just see that dark person that came in begin to glow, and to just see restoration, redemption. So I get to play an intricate part in that, working hand in hand with these guys. Like, I originally came here from North Carolina. I pretty much tried everything. Um, Addiction, it just plagued my life. It had me totally defeated, and nothing I tried seemed to work. This was a 16-year battle, and just God's wisdom just led me here. I was a truck driver by profession, and it's such a dark, lonely, isolated world. And the cool thing is now I can see how much I thrive in community. And when I get to interact with people, I'm definitely a people person. So I would have never, ever, ever, ever in my life thought that I'd be involved in ministry on any level.
God has a great way of working.
Oh my God. Oh my God, he
does. Yes, he does. So when you and I talked before, mm-hmm. we talked about the fact that you and I are more similar than we are different.
100%.
And if you look at us here, we're different, quite different. But the way that we have been through life with our suffering, so mm-hmm. trauma and abuse, unprocessed emotions that we've carried inside of us, than the suffering that we've endured as we've been in terrible places of survivorship. All
Mm-hmm.
those things about us is very much the same. Then we both had an opportunity to go on a great healing journey and now do work to share the beauty of that with the world,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is very interesting about us. But I think it's a truth, though, too, about people
Absolutely.
who go through trauma and abuse. We're pretty
Mm-hmm.
much all the same.
Mm-hmm.
The way we may survive may be very different,
It may be, but
but we're pretty much all the same and trying to get through life with what it's dealt us.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, when I think about Men of Nehemiah and what's happening there, it's what I call a great example of a heal microcosm. And if you see behind us, you've got the poster there of my acronym, the Hope Evolve. The and is not there, but there's the hope, the evolve, and the love, which I shared with you as the way that I think about the word heal and what
Mm-hmm.
that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of that through mine. So I want to just walk through that.
Okay.
We'll go through hope and we'll talk about evolving and we'll talk about love with your story.
Let's go.
So let's start at the beginning, which is the suffering part. Let's talk about that just for a little bit, whatever you'd like to share. And then we're going to get on to the good stuff, the
Okay.
healing part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to set the stage a little bit. So
Absolutely.
whatever you're comfortable with sharing about
Oh, I'm an open book. So the initial suffering was I can credit it to abuse as a child. My mom was 18 when she had me, so I mean, and I didn't realize a lot of stuff until I got older, but by the time I was 8, she was on her third marriage, and and he was a pastor. He was very abusive, like
that.
abusive, like almost torture to an extent. I didn't understand it. By him being a pastor, like we were in church every day. It was always something. It was
Mm,
always something. And
mm,
I didn't get to it during that period of my life. Like I didn't get to go out and play or go to the skating rink or play sports like other kids my age. Like I was always in church or just always in trouble. And I wasn't a bad kid. But like I would just get these like brutal beatings for nothing. I mean, he may walk in at night and ask me about a Bible verse or something and just beat me up. It was just it was so often that it actually just became normal, I
mm,
guess. And what's interesting is like it's actually I get more angry and it's more painful to talk about it now as an adult
sure.
than when I was actually going through it. Because when I was going through it, it was just this is what my life looks like. You know what I mean? And
And you understand now that
oh my
that
God,
was
yes, right.
you
Of
understand what it was
course.
now.
Of
Yes.
course.
Yeah.
And as I alluded earlier when I was talking about I never thought that I would work in ministry. You know, I would ask my mom because I really felt like I lost my mom too. Because up until
Sure.
that point, we were tight.
Sure.
She took me everywhere. So, and we ended up being okay. Me and her ended up getting
Good.
back close. Yeah,
Hmm.
but like I remember, I'd be like, Mom, like, why do I have to keep going to church? Like, like, can I not go? And her response was, when you're grown. And when I got grown, I don't care what's going on. I'm not going to nobody's church
Hmm.
under no
Hmm.
circumstances, period.
Hmm.
And here I am at
And
50,
what'd you do this morning?
preach.
Yes, you did, which was amazing. You did. You gave the lesson this morning
Oh
at Bread of
man.
Hope, which
And
was
it's just,
wonderful.
and the thing that's crazy about it is I don't have a religious background. Like I
Mm,
wasn't raised in that little 4 year period from 8 to 12, but I don't have everything biblically or from a theological standpoint, or I just recently learned like my whole relationship with Jesus Christ started through me going to Men of Nehemiah.
hmm
So it's like it's really difficult it's impossible for me not to feel that this is a gift. It's a talent. It's something that the Holy Spirit has, like it's a calling. Like I can't
Sure.
deny it because it comes kind of. I mean, I'm not saying it like this, but it kind of comes easy. It's kind of comes just. It's not a whole lot of work on my part,
Yeah.
and the work that I do is fun because it's research
I get
and like getting to
that.
be like I said, getting to be
Yes.
a nerd.
Yeah. Yes.
Like so. I didn't see this one coming. I couldn't have never scripted it, but
Me either, by the way. Where I am today,
you know,
I never could have written it either.
but I actually like I love it. I love the peace I have.
Hmm.
Um, you know, as a result of just I'm so bought in that it's literally like once I wake up, I have my quiet time, my devotion. Really, all I have to do is get dressed, and there's just that faith. It's a faith walk, and He's gonna equip me with whatever I need
Mm-hmm.
for the journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a
Yes.
confidence
Yes.
that comes from His comfort, and it's just like that's peaceful.
I agree with you.
You
It
know what I
is.
mean? Like to
Yeah.
not have to just deal with a lot of the. And I'm very intentional about, like you said, I set my phone way over there. Like I don't like distractions.
Yeah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
try my best to be intentional with relationships, with friendships, and just not be so distracted by outside
Yeah.
noise.
Presence is one of the greatest gifts that we can give to another
Dad,
human
I
being.
promise you.
Full
I
presence. Yeah.
promise you.
It is.
I
Yeah.
promise you.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm sorry for
mm,
what you endured when you were a young child, and I can say that to you as a child who's also been abused. I know the challenges that come with that. Right, mine was different from what
right,
yours was, but I understand, particularly as a child, it's confusing. I tell people that I didn't have either the comprehension to understand what was happening to me, nor the vocabulary to be able to tell someone, and so
right,
that type of thing just goes inside of you, right? And then
right.
it once it goes inside of you, you and I both know it has to come out at some point,
At
right?
some point. And one
So,
thing I'm sorry that I didn't mention
mm,
is during that period when I was 11,
mm,
they had a child, which is my sister.
yeah,
And during that period of my life, they did get me a dog, but the dog got the beatings I got.
oh,
But that little girl was the only thing that I felt. The love of a child is innocent, and she loved her brother.
yeah,
She took her first steps with me,
mm,
and and she would light up anytime like we were together.
mm,
And as an 11-year-old boy, I made a decision that I would stay here and get beat for the rest of my life so she doesn't have to get it. So that was the tough thing because my grandparents got wind and they adopted. They took me away from it,
yeah.
and it was hard to leave because I didn't know what was going to happen
What's
to her.
happening to her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't even. She doesn't even speak to me now. I haven't talked to her in years. It's
I'm sorry about
unfortunate.
that. It
Yeah, it's
is
unfortunate,
unfortunate.
but I did my part, and I'm just not in the business of trying to be in somebody's life that their actions say that they don't want me there.
Yeah,
And that's fine.
yeah, yeah. That's right. You've got
You
plenty of
know,
other people to help.
too many.
But it does say a lot about your heart, even with what you were going through when you were a child, your heart that you would feel that way. Because that's with what you're describing that you're enduring. That's says a lot about your heart. It
Yeah.
does.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I've seen it too. So I see you every at the Mon services. I watch you at every service, and I just see your heart. And of course, when you talk, when you give the
Hmm.
lessons, that's
Hmm.
a wonderful thing to hear
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank you.
So let's talk just for a little bit then about all those emotions that we don't know what to do with go inside of us. So, what did that look like for you when you were living with all of that before you really got to the place where you're ready to heal? What'd your life look like?
Um, to be honest, as weird as it may sound, like I'm from an era where counseling was unheard of.
Mm,
You just dealt with it, and I always can like to compare my life to the show The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. My grandparents provided me with such an immaculate lifestyle that it was really easy to just forget what had happened and just step into to that and enjoy it. I never had to look back. I excelled from that day forward in
Mm-hmm.
sports, academically, socially.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, looking back, um, in many occasions, probably up until recent years, I would overextend myself for people to like me. So people pleasing was probably
Ah,
my
that makes sense.
device.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I wanted you to love me. Like, I just wanted love. I had so much of it to give. Like that's the easy part. But like, I just, if you said I was your friend, I wouldn't let you not be my friend, whatever it
Mm,
cost me.
mm.
You know what I mean? And I didn't really realize that that's a sickness. That's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a defect. It's not healthy.
It's not healthy, and it's a way. It's a coping mechanism,
Okay,
right?
thank you.
It's part of who we become, which I think is natural. I mean, it's common for people to become people pleasers
Yeah,
when they've experienced time with someone wasn't who was demonstrating displeasure with you, and that's what was happening with
right.
that man that your mom was married to, right? I
Hmm.
mean, that's what he was expressing. And it's natural. It's just something that happens to us. People become people pleasers, and you can go back and look at why, because there's some point in time in your history in your past when you weren't pleasing somebody who you thought you were supposed to be pleasing.
Right. And I
That's what
did
happened.
everything to try to make that man just like me. You know what
And,
I'm saying?
and
And
so
it just wasn't happening. So
that just became part of who you were then, right? That
yeah,
people
yeah,
pleasing.
yeah.
Yeah. Which doesn't.
So needless to say, like there were plenty of times in high school and college where good guys come in last. So just always trying to be the hero and Mr. Nice Guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm still a nice guy, but
You are.
I got to cut off points now. Oh yeah, yeah,
Boundaries.
boundaries.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But at some point, your life turned to a place of running, escape.
It did.
So,
It did. I'll be honest with you. I'll say probably around the age of 13. My grandparents adopted me at 12. So around 13, I began to kind of know that there was something special because I would hear it all the time. Like there was so many different, especially like Christians
mm-hmm.
trying to recruit me or there's something special about you. I would hear this all the time from teachers. Something different about you or something about you. And there was this thing where no matter what school I went to, if I went to a different school, no matter where I went in life, I always had this thing where people grew to me or total strangers would just come
Mm.
up to me and just start pouring their heart out, like start at age 13 to this
Wow.
day. So I knew something was there. And I kind of knew that I'm not going to lie. I knew that there was a calling on my life. I
Mm.
just wasn't ready. I wasn't going to do it. Oh yeah, I rebelled and I rebelled and I kicked and screamed.
And how'd that go?
I'm here.
You're here now. You
Uh-huh.
are.
It took
But it was
me
painful for a few years, wasn't
decades,
it?
decades.
Yes. Yeah.
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 So like, but like when I like, and all of it is based on reflection. Like when I reflect
Sure.
back and I look back,
Hmm.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
he's been trying to get me on this path since I was 13, and he was gonna get me on it one way or another if it killed me.
Was. But when we talked before, we talked about the fact that sometimes the path for us, and I know this is true for me, and I look at someone like you, and I think it might be true for you as well, that part of your path is the extreme suffering,
Oh yeah.
right? So you now have that
Oh
as ministry,
yeah.
right? Because
a
now you
hundred
have
percent.
credibility and relatability to the people that you work with.
Absolutely.
So while God was trying and knew you were going to get on the path, I think maybe.
And I needed
Mm,
it because life is so much different than what I saw it as. Meaning, everything was handed to me.
mhm.
I had no idea what it looked like to struggle, to suffer, to go without, probably until in my 40s when I was getting deep into the addiction.
Mhm.
And then now and it just leveled the playing field and I really see what people go through. Like everything isn't as simple for everybody. Like everybody doesn't have just automatic resources to be successful. Like
Yeah.
everybody doesn't. You know what I mean? And it really was a life lesson, and it was so humbling.
Well, in fact, I would even say that most of us are really just one step away from
Absolutely.
becoming an alcoholic or an addict or homeless, right? So it's not,
Hmm.
so I see it very much. I understand what you're saying, right? Not knowing people didn't have the resources, that wasn't a common thing. I see it the other way now because I sort of grew up that way as well. I mean, we talked about this
Hmm.
before, sort of lives of privilege, meaning there
Right.
wasn't anything that I wanted for or you wanted for when
Right.
you were growing up that you didn't have access to, right?
Absolutely.
In the same way. But now being here doing this work and what you've experienced, what you do now, I
Mhm.
definitely realized that for myself. And I'm literally one step away
Oh yeah.
from just
It's so
being
easy,
completely
like, and it
without
happens
anything.
so
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
it
mean?
does.
Just
Yeah, it does.
one party turned into a 16-year.
And
Took me 16 years to leave that party.
you know when that party was, don't you?
I do.
You know the day. That's interesting. Yeah. And it's a self-reflection, right? Go back and you know exactly
I
when
knew
it happened.
exactly when it happened.
16 years. So that was what you were in your mid 30s when that
I
happened?
was 37.
37. Yeah.
Mhm, when I started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting little story. Like, started going to jail in my 40s. Just like almost like I say Benjamin Button, like in reverse.
Supposed to do
Everybody
that
else
in
is
your
getting it
20s, right?
together by that point, right?
Yeah, it's all right.
It is.
It's just the
I
path we
wouldn't take
walk.
none of it back
Yeah,
if I could.
yeah. Neither would I. It's a great thing
And I
to
mean
say.
that.
I do
Yeah,
too.
I feel you
Yeah,
100%
I
with
know you
that.
do.
Yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I couldn't do what I do now without all of
Right,
that, and
right. That's where the passion comes from.
yes, that's right. Yes, because I
You
don't want
know,
anybody else to suffer the way I suffered.
right, right, right.
What
And
you're hoping for. Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
It is.
So before we get on that healing pathway really in earnest, where we're ready to end our suffering, is the
Hmm.
way that I talk about truly healing. There's that rock bottom moment. Rock bottom is that very lowest point of the suffering. Do you know when that was for you?
There were so many dark moments,
Hmm.
near death experiences. There isn't just one like defining. I think the defining moment was the last time, because I went through the Men of Nehemiah 3 times, but it was something about that third time that the reality hit that, because I can be very charming and very, I can,
I can tell that about you.
it is what it is. Like I've known that for
It's
years
that
too.
gift you have, right? They've been telling you about since you were 13.
Right. And then, and
Yeah.
addiction made me misuse that gift.
Yeah.
Like recovery in my walk with Christ helps me use it the way it's supposed to be used. But when I walked through that door the last time, I knew it was over. I just knew. I guess the rock bottom was when I walked in that door. And as an educated, I was 54 at the time, an educated 54-year-old man, everything that I owned on this earth was in a beat up little duffel bag. And that was my point of, I'm so much more than this.
Mm.
This is not who my grandparents sacrificed and raised me to be. This is not who God has called me to be. This is not the father my daughter deserves. This is not it. And I know that it's gonna just take commitment and consistency, nothing else. Because what can I say?
Yeah.
What can I convince somebody of when this is the reality?
Mm.
This duffel bag.
Hmm.
Which about a year ago I took the whole duffel bag and I don't even care what was in it, threw it in the trash.
Yeah, let it go. Being done with
Out of
it.
there.
Yeah. So when was that? When did you go to Mon the third time?
Oh, la 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 la. July 14th, 2023.
2023.
Yes. Because it'll be the clean date is July 10th, but I didn't make it there until the 14th.
It's almost 2 years now.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
First time I've ever stayed clean longer than 30 days out of rehab.
What do you think the difference is now?
That duffel bag.
That duffel bag.
I mean, like, I can't, like, I knew.
Yeah.
I just knew. And it was time. I mean, so when I tell you throughout the years and the different experiences and the different drugs and the different this or that, there's nothing else left. Like, I milked that. I've done everything. There's nothing else to do or experience.
Yeah.
Even death. I've even died. You know what I mean? There's
I heard
nothing
you
else
say that
left.
this morning.
There's
Yeah.
nothing else left.
Yeah. Mm.
It wasn't fun anymore. It just wasn't. I mean, it was time.
Yeah.
And I can't really put it into words. I just knew.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I was ready.
You're ready.
I was
I think
ready.
that's a big part of
That's
it.
it. I was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
ready.
Nobody heals until they're ready.
Right. I
Yeah,
was so ready. I was
that's right.
so doggone sick of me
Yeah.
and just sick of what I was settling for. Because I knew that this was here,
Mm-hmm.
but I just couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I
I
do.
think, I tell you what, I stopped trying to play catch up.
Hmm.
I stopped trying to catch up and just caught on.
It's a
You know what I
great
mean?
way to
Like
put it.
especially like being older, I felt like, man, I've screwed over so many years. Like, I gotta make this right. I gotta make up. No, it's over.
No, just get on now.
Just get on now.
Yeah.
And I went and trying to keep doors open that God was
Hmm.
trying to close.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying. I love driving trucks, but now I can see He's been trying to close that door. And just that faith that I talked about
Mm.
earlier, life being a faith walk. Like, soon as I just took my foot out and let that door close and
Yeah.
lock,
Mm-hmm.
the door that he's been trying to get me to go through open. So
Just the door that you've walked into now. I
yes,
feel like
oh yeah,
wherever this path is going to take you.
wherever.
But it seems like a beautiful path wherever it's
Oh
going.
man, I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about the therapeutic part of what Men of Nehemiah offers, because my experience personally, and what I see in other people and just talking to other people, that a huge part of really ending our suffering is dealing with the past. So
Yeah.
dealing with the trauma, the
Hmm.
abuse, and the emotions, really processing the emotions. And I had to go through that in order
Hmm.
to be able to move forward. And I wonder, so has there been a difference with that, like the part of your past and really your emotions and what those were doing to you, it's different this third time than the first two times that you went through the program?
No, I think just this time, because I've kind of gotten past the abuse and all of that.
Hmm.
Some of the things that were really haunting me was dealing with the destruction of my addiction, meaning
Hmm.
like my relationship with my daughter,
Hmm.
the situation with my mom. I mean, I can talk about it. I don't know what I. Um, so my mom and I ended up being back close again, and she was my number one supporter, my number one enabler, all at the same time.
Hmm.
And I just remember, addiction affects the people we love the most,
Yes.
who love us the most.
Yes.
And she caught it. And I just remember uh, she sent me to the store and I kept the car. I kept it for a week. I stayed out for a week and each day I was like, God, I got to go home. But I was like, it just kept building up. And so I actually went to jail behind that. And when I got out, was the day that, like, that was it. That was the final straw. Like, she had put up with it for years. And she just was like, I remember I got out, I went to see her, and she just hugged me. She was just crying, like, I'm done with you. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I
Hmm.
just need time to heal. I don't just, and it was like 2 weeks later, she had a heart attack and she died. And that was our last conversation. And that's when I really lost it.
Yeah.
And that was probably the most difficult piece
Mm.
to heal from,
Mm.
or to just figure out, because I kind of held myself responsible. Like I literally felt like I killed my mom, not physically like with a knife or something, but I felt like,
Heartbreak.
you know what I mean? And up until
Mm.
I was 37 and started with it doing drugs. Like I was her prized possession. Like I was her,
Mm.
you know. And so that was a hard one. And finally it happened last Mother's Day. Actually, I went home and I got to make a gravesite amends. That was more through the 12 steps than the counseling part. Like that was something that was going to need to take action. And that same weekend, I got to see my daughter for the first time in 5 years,
Mhm.
and found out that she didn't hate me, and she loved me, and she was told me, just go make new memories. Just people make mistakes. Like she was such a champ about it,
Mhm.
much better than I think I would have been if the shoe was reversed. And so there were just things that I knew, like that I had to face.
Mm.
Like really, like it was about, it's time, we can't run no more. It's time to face it
Yeah.
and get past it. And it took about a year. And then I found out something in counseling that I had no idea. And that was probably the one that set me free. So I carried this weight on me. So my list: God, my grandfather, Michael Jordan. That's the list. That's the list. Colonel's on there now, but
Colonel's on
that's
there
my
now.
list.
Okay.
And so, like, my grandfather was a soldier,
Mhm.
um,
By the way, you should
discipline
probably clarify your list of what
of men that just, I don't want to use the word idolize, but just the men that,
means something to you.
right,
Yeah.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. And so, you know, he, anything, any characteristics about me that are good are him.
Okay.
Like he was an amazing man, an amazing husband, amazing provider, leader. Everybody loved him, everybody respected him. And the only thing he really asked, like he provided an amazing life for me. And the only thing he ever asked was, if something happens to me, just make sure you take care of your mama, meaning my grandma.
Hmm.
And I failed. You know, when he died, I was on drugs and I couldn't take care of my grandma. And that haunted me. She passed in 2022. My uncle took care of her. And there was this thing where, like, I just felt like I let him down. Like that was a heavy burden on me.
Mhm.
I didn't even realize how heavy a burden. Like I felt like less than a man because just the one thing that he asked me to do, and I just felt like I let him down. But my counselor helped me point out, if everything you say about your grandfather is true from what I read, he wouldn't really care what you do, long as you did it to the best of your ability. And I found out I was trying to be him.
Ah.
And he never asked me to fill his shoes.
No.
But
No.
but I didn't even realize that I was doing that.
Yeah.
And it was such freedom. I felt released
Hmm.
because I had no idea that, and that's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
And that's a task I would never amount to. That's something I could never do. No, it's not even fair, you know.
No.
And that's not what he wanted.
No.
You know what I mean? He
Mm.
just wanted the best version of me.
Mm.
And so
But you were carrying guilt
I
when your
was.
grandmother passed that you weren't there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even when she was living, like
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
like I didn't want to the situation. I knew I was failing when I was in it. But yeah, the addiction is a nasty sucker. But anyway, like once I realized that, and I was like, okay. And my grandparents' grave is right there. We all have at the same place. So
Hmm.
I got to holler at everybody while I was out there, you know.
Yeah.
And I just felt forgiven. I felt like I know, like today, I know they were just, I know my granddaddy was crying.
Yeah. This
My
morning.
grandma was like, look at my baby. And my mama was just, I knew it.
You
I
knew it.
felt them there. So,
Yeah.
like, I know they're proud. I don't have
Yeah.
to carry any more, like, I'm free.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
get that.
It's
Yeah.
just freedom.
Yeah.
And it's something I couldn't, I didn't even know what I was carrying,
Hmm. Yeah.
so awareness of what I was carrying helped me heal and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the idea of hope.
Okay.
So, carrying that duffel bag, everything you have is in that duffel bag. Where are you with hope?
I'm a hope dealer.
You are now. But
Now,
at that point in time,
I was
no hope,
hopeless.
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 Yeah.
You know, the hopelessness was more because even when I walked through that door, hope started because I knew what I knew that it was gonna be okay
Well,
because
yeah.
I made it there. But coming up to that, the hopelessness is just I wanted to die. Like I didn't have no hope. Like I wished that I would die. I couldn't kill
It,
myself. I wanted to die.
it is one of the worst feelings
God,
I've
take me,
ever
please.
had.
Why won't you
Yeah.
let me die? Why do you keep bringing me back? Like
Well, now you know the answer to
I do,
that.
I do.
Yes, you do.
And now I
Yeah.
don't know how much more hopeless a person can be than that.
Yeah.
You know, um,
Yeah. Yeah. That is a very low place.
it is.
I've not been in such despair or so hopeless that I wanted to not be here. But I also, I think for me, my my journey, I was in that place for a relatively short period of time because I immediately started trying to deal with it, knowing it wasn't a place that I wanted to be. And part of mine came from the fact that I literally woke up one day and had no idea who I really was. Everything about my life suddenly was just complete somebody else's life. Right? Just the way that my story has unfolded, but that feeling of hopelessness and just really not having any idea how to move forward from where you are, it's not a good place to be.
It's not.
Not a fun place to be. And I can't imagine, I've never experienced having something else controlling you, the addiction that you're trying to fight on top of that. I've not been in that place before, but that
Yeah,
I can see would be a very hard place to be.
hopeless to lose the ability to fight.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know.
Yeah. 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 That is a deep level of despair and hopelessness.
Yeah.
So the Men of Nehemiah, what I
Hmm.
love about Sunday service, it's called Bread of Hope. And that is, if I were going to put one word to describe Men of Nehemiah, that's the word I would use is hope,
I know
because
that's right.
that's what I feel every time that I'm in one of the services,
Right.
Sundays, Tuesdays. That's what I feel.
Let me
So
ask.
much
Let
hope.
me ask you this. You'll
Mm,
be the perfect person to ask.
mm,
So, like, as a non-addict,
mhm.
it's good to hear how what we do, the experience that someone that's not in the program, a woman, that you know what I mean. Like, how do you feel when you come to our services? Do you feel like inspired? Do
I
you
do.
feel hope? You feel
That's what I feel.
motivated?
That's hope is the word that I would use.
So
Yes.
what we do, and that's the thing I try to tell them, like what we do is so much bigger. You gotta fight past how you feel. You got like what we
Mm,
do is inspire so many people on so many
yes.
different levels
Yes. That's right.
from all different races, tax brackets,
That's
like what I talked about
that's
today. You
exactly
you, you
right.
know what I mean?
That's
So it's
exactly
good to
right.
actually hear
Yes. Yes.
from somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. I mean, I think, for me, I feel a bit of a personal connection
Hmm.
because of what I mean, because of the suffering that I've been through in my life, right?
Right.
And I understand what I said before about literally we're all one step away from being in that place.
Hmm.
And I shared with you before, and I'll say it now, the only reason I'm not an addict or an alcoholic is because I don't physically have that makeup in my body. That is part of God's grace
I
on
promise you.
me, is to not give that makeup
Right.
genetically,
Right.
physically to
Right.
me,
Right.
where I fall into that place of my body just says I've got to have more and more and more at all
Right.
costs, right?
Right. Right.
That doesn't happen to me. And I had years. I
Right.
had years of, I've tried all kind of drugs. I've
Right.
been in some
How'd you lucky? You
not
have an
good
off switch.
places in my, I have an off switch. Pick it up, put it down, walk away, literally.
Why do
Pick
you
it up,
do
put it down.
that?
I don't know. It's just, that's God's
No, it
grace
is.
in
It
my life,
is. It
because
is.
somebody else looking at me, if they knew the history there, would say that I tried. I'll tell you, I probably tried.
Right.
And, I did some really stupid things, and I could have killed people. I could have killed myself. Right. So I've been behind the wheel, driving, drunk, literally drunk. Should not have been there more times than I care to remember. Right.
Right.
I just don't have that part.
Right.
So for me, when I'm there is that reminder for me, right? So there, but for the grace of God go I.
Right.
God's grace, right? And so I am acutely aware of that because of my own path. I'm immensely grateful. I mean, my gratitude for that part of what God gave me is
Hmm.
huge, because
Right.
I understand the extreme suffering that you've been through that I've not been through.
Right.
Right? I'm right there at that point, but
Right. Right.
God always provided for the different things, kept me from killing somebody, kept me from going to jail. There were illegal gambling machines on my property with drugs at one point in time, at the same
Right.
time that a hit had been hired on the county sheriff, who was trying to get rid of the gambling machines from the county. I mean, I've been in places that I should not have been,
Right.
and walked away from every single one of them. God's grace,
God's grace.
because of where I'm meant to be now, right? And so
Right.
for me, I see it as everyone in that room is just a different version of me. I am the men of Nehemiah. The men of Nehemiah are me. I am you. You are me, right? Just in different shades
Right.
of what
Right.
we've been through. So I do really connect with the hope that's there.
Hmm.
But also, there are a range of emotions that are there, because as you look around and you
Tell
see
them.
it, when you look across the faces in the mornings, right? I mean, you can see that some days people, whether they're in the program or those of us that are visiting, right, we're in various places and what kind of a day we're having, right? And you can see that. So you see those different emotions on their faces. But
That's what I
hope is the
love the
one that's
most.
always
For
there.
that 1 hour,
Yeah.
a group of people that may look different
Mm-hmm.
are all locked in on
Mm-hmm.
one cause,
Mm-hmm.
a body of believers.
Yes.
That's powerful.
It is powerful.
To like,
It is.
and it does something to me when I stand and I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
like, oh my
it is. Yeah. And that's hope. Hope is the one word I would say. That's why
God. Okay.
it's amazing that Sunday morning service is bread
Better
of hope.
hope.
Because and I do say, for me, hope is what we have to get us through the healing process, right?
Absolutely.
And that's, that, right? I mean, you've got to turn that corner and suddenly find something that gives you hope. And for you, in this case, it was
Right.
the program.
It
They gave that
was.
to you.
I think the most rewarding thing about all of this is we're talking about hope, is like literally being chosen to be lifted out of that slimy pit, that dark place, and to be able to be a source of hope.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we all are.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Now on
Absolutely.
this side,
Yeah,
even
absolutely.
when you were talking about the gambling machines, I'm just listening at like reflecting back on what if but God. You know? I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
just, and most people don't make it out
No.
unscathed.
No, most people don't.
You know what I mean? So
No. No, I'm truly blessed, and that's not
right,
lost on me with what it is that I'm meant to be doing. In fact, I think I shared with you when we talked before that my fear of God, we were talking about the fear of God. What is the fear of God? My fear of God is that I will not live up to what He wants me to do with my work now.
right.
He's given me this path and this platform and these things that I'm doing and this creative ability, and that's my biggest fear, is that I don't do
I
that.
you know what's crazy is I try to have that fear. You won't let me.
because you know you're going to.
What I mean is like going into like if I'm gonna do a sermon,
Hmm.
everything feels so right about what I have planned out, what I have written, but then there's a fear like, well, will they get it? Will they receive it? This and that, and it's like, stop. He will equip you with the Spirit led you here.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
Yeah.
fine. That's just a part of the journey, like because he's just the things he's got me out of. Like everything on this side is like I just really kind of have this thing where I know he's gonna equip me, so I'm just not gonna worry.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'm scary, a nervous wreck. You know, I chewed my nails to the bloody until about a year ago. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just like it just feels good to not have the same just everything like controlled by fear.
You used that word before, peace.
Yes.
And that's exactly where I am. I am
Yeah.
at peace. I am.
Yeah.
And the things that I think feed fear, when you said before, they're going to receive the message, are they going to hear it
Right.
well? I used to feel that same way. I don't worry about those things
Yeah.
anymore because I know, and I'm asking, I'll tell you, it's funny. I'll give you a great example. So I ask on a regular basis, daily, I ask that God let me be the vessel for whatever it is that I'm supposed to impart into the world in that day.
Right.
Let me be the vessel of service for whatever
Right.
God wants me to give to the world that day.
Mm-hmm.
So this morning, I woke up this morning, and I was having that conversation. I was thinking about this conversation that we're having now,
Mm-hmm.
sort of the flow about it and how it was going to go. And of course, we'd met before, and I was thinking
Right.
back to what we had talked about and how I wanted it to flow. And went to Bread of Hope this morning. I'm sitting there, and we're going through and we're singing. And a couple of the songs, I was meditating and just having
Oh,
that conversation with God while
me
the
too.
singing was going on. And lo and behold, who then steps up and starts talking this morning? And it was you. And so I was making all these notes. And I had to come home and like furiously write down this is what, because I went to St. Luke's this morning at
Mm-hmm.
10 after
Mm-hmm.
that. So I just had a short period of time. So I just came home and wrote it down. But that's God, right? God was like,
Absolutely.
don't worry, I got you, because he's gonna give the message this morning, and that's gonna cue you off to exactly what you're gonna talk about
Right.
today.
Right.
It's
Right.
cool how those things work,
It
right?
is.
And that's that peace of knowing that that message is coming through
It
no matter
is.
what,
It
right?
is. It
Yeah.
is. But I'm not gonna lie, I've had that feel like something I said earlier, like sometimes when my past has been marked by so many failures,
Hmm.
this is the assignment, like my God given assignment. Like
Hmm.
I just don't want to fail.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so,
We
but
talked about this before too,
I
though, right?
tried though. I really like am very intentional about getting
Hmm.
out of that fear as
Yeah.
quickly as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Because
So
that's me. That's nothing from
yeah.
them. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and those failures you mentioned, I thought about that because you said that this morning. We talked
Right,
about that
right,
before, right?
right,
How I
right.
see those. They're not your
No,
failures.
no, 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 no.
They're
Well,
it's part of your
past failed attempts, but they don't make me a failure.
they
So
don't.
they don't.
Those were just your credibility and relatability lessons,
Right,
right?
right,
It
right.
was just the teaching.
But well, it
Going
was
to
hard
school
to
for all
see it on
that.
the other way, leading up to it.
Now, right? But it
Right,
is
but
now.
now, of
So
course,
yeah.
yeah.
So I want to talk for a little bit because we've talked around evolving quite a bit because we've talked about some of the different tools and the therapies, and
Mhm,
Men of Nehemiah is a support group,
mhm,
really, is what it is,
mhm.
as well as a deep place for healing. And you've talked about some of the self discovery work that you've been through. You
Mhm.
said it those words exactly, but that's what you've been talking about, who you are
Right.
now and where you are.
Mhm.
So I want to talk a little bit about the notion of love, because this morning you were talking about receiving, right? And being in a place to receive. And that was about the healing. But I also think about healing for us, those of us who have all those awful emotions inside of us for a while.
Mhm.
It's about getting us to a place where we can not only receive the healing, but receive the love.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And now for you, your daughter, which
Mhm.
is a great gift. One of the main reasons to heal is to be able to have loving relationships with people, showing up in love, right? And knowing how to do that
Right.
in a healthy way,
Right.
both giving and receiving. And now you have so many opportunities, but your daughter, which that's amazing.
Yeah, she'll be coming to spend a week with me. And understand, like, from my experience,
Mhm.
and I was 37 when she was born.
Yeah.
And like parenthood was the one thing
Well, that's just
that I
when,
wanted more than
but
anything.
that's really when things started really going bad at
Yeah,
that same
after about
time.
she was
Wow.
close to one, like when me
Wow.
and her mom, we were
Mm.
really close. And then when my daughter was born, and probably about 6 months in, it was just I don't know what happened, but I didn't take it good, and I didn't stay and fight either. I ran,
Mm.
but that was probably not being able to be the father that I'd always dreamed of being. That probably, because I'm just looking at the timeline. I'm not blaming it on anybody, but the timeline, that was the one thing that was huge, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why on this end, like why this is such a monumental, just a triumphant moment to be able to have her.
Yeah. It's the whole reason we
Like
heal.
that her mom even trusts, even though she's
Yes.
18, that even trusts me, her coming to here to be with me for a week.
Yeah.
But it has everything to do with from that Mother's Day of being consistent. You know, like I'm just so excited. For one that she even wants to come. Two, that she's going to be allowed to come.
Hmm.
And three, there's like we can scratch that off as a failure because we still got a lot. We still got
Lots of
you know what
time.
I mean? Like
Yes.
this story doesn't end here.
Yeah. No, it's just the beginning,
You,
really.
you
You look
know?
at it that way, right?
Right,
A whole
right,
new opportunity,
right,
second chance, however you want to say it.
right,
Right? But whatever the past is the past.
right,
You get a
right,
chance to move forward.
right.
Yeah, which is wonderful.
And
I'm
it
happy
is,
for
and
you.
it's thank you so much.
Yeah.
And it is super. It's not difficult to receive love. It's not
Now.
now. Well, no, it wasn't then. I just wasn't capable of returning it
Mm,
during those times
yeah.
because the only thing I loved was so I just didn't have the
Yeah.
capacity
Yeah.
to for the action part of it. It was just a word.
Yeah.
I,
The
I
giving part.
couldn't, you know.
Yeah.
But now I give it and I receive it. Like there's nothing that means more to me when I walk in the building and just the hugs and the love. Like I need it. That's
Which
why
is another great. It's another great thing
that's
about
like my
mom. It is.
battery.
It is. It's
That's my
amazing.
that's my charger. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I get it. That's I get up to go get energy poured
right,
into me.
right,
That's what Sunday morning is about. That's what Tuesday
absolutely.
evening is about.
Right.
Getting
I
that
get it.
energy.
I
I
get
feel
it
it.
Sunday through Sunday.
Yeah. Which is you do. Yes, working there, which
Right,
is amazing.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So tell me a little bit about where you are with self love.
Oh, you know, I just went in, not today, but I think it was last Saturday. Pedicure. I take care of myself. Oh yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I love on me. I feel worthy of not in an arrogant way, but
No.
um worth it.
Yeah.
Um
Do you love Charles?
I do.
Good.
I do.
Good.
I do.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm proud of Charles.
Oh, good. I'm proud of Charles
Yeah,
too.
I
I'm glad to
am.
hear
I
that.
am. I
Yeah.
am. It took some, but it was work.
Yeah. It
You
is.
know, it was
It
work.
is
It
work.
was work. But and
Yeah.
that's why I'm proud that I didn't run.
Hmm.
Like I dug in and just
Yeah.
um did what was necessary, and I think that's therapeutic. There's healing in that because like I don't have to do weird stuff or just overextend myself for attention or to try to get people. Like I'm able to validate myself.
Yeah.
So it's not like nothing I do is to seek validation.
Yeah. Well, you got God too, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But it's all that he's the reason for all of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking this morning about healing for future generations. And that was the message there was about so that future generations can see God, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what the whole, I probably said that the healing for future generations was all about
Praise. It opens
praise,
up.
right? And so that so the future generations can see that and know that. So
Mm-hmm.
I was equating that to the idea of healing for future generations.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's sort of breaking the cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what you've done. So breaking the cycle of what you've been through.
Right.
And hopefully that's what your daughter sees.
Right.
And your daughter doesn't go to that place of suffering in the same ways or suffering
Right.
on a
Right.
long-term basis.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But which is one of the best reasons to heal. And one of the best things we can do with our stories is sharing that.
Yes.
To stop future generations from having to go through it.
100%. Like for my unborn grandchildren.
Yeah.
You know, everything counts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the healing process too, I think, with your daughter, you know, she sees a different person. You all have a good relationship. Her hurt from being hurt starts to mend and goes away.
Right.
And so she's not.
And I may even ask her because they offer so much stuff. Like I may ask her, she'll probably say no, but I don't know if she wants to do any counseling while she's there. I mean, I know they would.
Sure, they would.
They
Of course,
would
they
do
would.
it, but I don't know if she'd be up to it or not. She might. I can't speak for her, but I'll definitely ask her.
Yeah.
You know, if that's something she'd want to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it as a teenager, but I can't speak for her.
Well, hopefully you'll be an example for her, though.
Yeah.
If she needs to have help in the future, she'll be able to get that. But maybe with you mending the relationship and spending time together, she won't.
And it's really about, she's not the cute little girl. She's cute, but I mean the little girl that used to follow me everywhere.
No, she's a woman.
She is. She's a young lady, and
Yeah.
and I think just what I want to do is establish trust where, you know, that she knows that she can come to me, you know, that she knows she could lean on me or, you know, and be proud of me. But mostly that's about me. But like for her to be able to like, I'm going through something. Let me call my dad or you know what I mean? So all that comes with time. It all comes with establishing relationship. You know, so that's the part I'm really excited about, getting to know her all over again.
It is exciting. I'm really happy for you.
It is.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah, it's wonderful.
So, a whole week.
A whole week. Yeah. Yeah, you have plans already?
So not like nothing in concrete, but I was looking at the indoor skydiving. We're adventurous.
Oh, okay.
Both of us. Yeah.
Okay.
Just trying to find some things I was thinking about. I wanted to get formal, get suited and booted, and maybe go to the reunion tower, like on a date, like to really show her how she should be treated on a date.
Yeah.
So that's something
lovely.
I want to definitely, because I've always kind of seen it and like, I'm going up there one day. Couldn't think of a better excuse to go. So
great reason. Yeah.
And then I'm just kind of keeping my ears open for just things that we can do that just to spend time, you know, something that's she'll remember. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're gonna have a great time.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Thoroughly enjoy it.
I am.
Such a great place to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And bring her to Sunday and Tuesday.
Of course. Can't wait to meet her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really fantastic. It's a great place for us to wrap up.
Awesome.
On a very positive, happy note. So, yes. Thank you very much for being here.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And I will probably do this again. So it's fun things to talk about.
I'm available.
As you're giving your sermons and I hear you give them, there'll be things for us to talk about for sure. So yeah, they will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of Let's Heal with Beth Jones. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at BethJonesHEALingMentor. And if you'd like to know more about me and my work to help other survivors to heal, please visit me on the web at empoweredsurvivors.com.